If you don't think that racism and bias exists in the hiring process, you need to check this job description out. This job description says, U.S. citizens, white in parentheses, who are local within 60 miles from Dallas, Texas, parentheses, don't share with candidates, end parentheses. I've been in recruiting for coming up to a decade. Now, I work on the agency side, meaning that we help clients find candidates. Now, look, when I got started in recruitment as an agency recruiter, I would run into clients that would say things like, look, this isn't HR friendly, or don't tell HR I said this, but, and then they would say things like, we're looking for somebody polished or someone refined, meaning that they were looking for somebody who had pedigree, right? They went to a certain school. I'd also hear things like, yeah, we don't want anybody who requires sponsorship. Then I might send through a candidate that maybe had an unusual name, you know, not a name like John Smith. And they'd say something like, oh, are you sure they don't need sponsorship? Or they'd say, yeah, I don't know about that neighborhood, whatever the excuse was. This opened my eyes to the reality that although there's been a lot of good work in terms of diversity and inclusion at some companies, these types of mindsets are still around and they run rampant. Take this job description, for example. This person probably left this comment on there by mistake. But I've heard other people recently getting candidate notes even from past interviewers and hiring managers saying ridiculously biased and racial things. I'm not going to try and get all political because that's definitely not what this channel is about. But if you don't believe that these types of mindsets exist, you need to look at this example. This is so blatant. I mean, white, come on. Now, maybe you're looking at me and going, why is this white guy even talking about this? Well, you'd be wrong. I'm not actually white. Lalji is an Indian name, and my granddad was actually from the Caribbean. Growing up, I received a lot of racial abuse. I grew up in the northern part of England, and people mistook me from Indian and Arabian all the time. I'm not saying this for sympathy. I'm just saying it because I've experienced these types of ideas when people see me for the first time. Honestly, it's just really sad that stuff like this exists. And when people say statements like, well, anyone can succeed and it's a level playing field, obviously it's not. And we need to wake up. And if you see things like this, you need to call it out. Like the person that put these notes on here should be ashamed. And guys, take a look at the company. It's Arthur Grand Technologies, Inc. They're based in Dallas. So yes, I think we should all go to the website and Yelp and leave some messages on their account. Recruiter rant over.